tonight's meeting to order. It is the regular city council meeting, Tuesday, November 5th, 2019. May I have roll call, please?
Mr. Bembas?
Here.
Mr. Blair?
Here.
Mr. Gillis?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mrs. Meldrum?
Here.
Mr. Scarbeck?
Here.
Mayor Stoneburner?
Here.
All present.
We take a moment of silent prayer, please. If everyone could please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion to approve our agenda for this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have an agenda. Tonight we have two presentations that we'll do. And first up, we'll start with the Elginak Asset Award, and this will be given to the Corey Rivard Jr. Promise Foundation. I see Mrs. Rivard is here to accept. Anyone else from the family? We decided to use the microphone. We're finding out people can't hear us at home. Mrs. Rivard?
Yes.
And Janae?
Janae Spencer.
All right. Tonight, we are giving the Elginak Asset Award to Robin and Corey Rivard and Janae on behalf of the Corey Rivard Jr. Promise Foundation for a donation of the Lions Field Bike Maintenance Station. The Corey Rivard Promise Foundation recently purchased a bike fix-it maintenance station for the Elginak Lions Field. The fix-it includes all the tools necessary to perform basic bike repairs and maintenance, from changing a flat tire to adjusting brakes and derailleurs. The tools are securely attached to the stand with stainless steel cables and tamper-proof fasteners. Hanging the bike from the hanger arms allows the pedals and wheels to spin freely while making adjustments. The station also includes a bike tire air pump. The Corey Rivard Jr. Promise Foundation, named in the memory of Corey Rivard, was created to encourage, inform, inspire, and invest directly into local, state, and national programs that promote public awareness and prevention of suicide. The foundation largely focuses on teenagers and young adults. Science shows that being active outside is closely tied to positive mental health. A bike pump is a small way to encourage the community to get outside and interact with other people and their surroundings. Social interactions can improve mental health and build strong bonds in the community. Josh Rivard credits his brother Corey with introducing him to cycling and felt that the bike station was a fitting way to pay quiet homage to him. Corey's parents, Robin, and Corey couldn't make it, okay, are here to accept the award on behalf of the foundation. I was on their website this afternoon, earlier. It's the Corey Rivard Jr. Promise Foundation. And I was looking at the postings that they had, and there was one in particular that stuck with me, and it was around Labor Day time that it was posted. It said, "So many messages are telling those who are struggling to reach out," and that's fair enough. But part of what depression does is mutes your ability to reach. If you are not depressed and you see someone struggling, you reach out. If you don't see someone who used to be around, you reach out. And I think that's what Corey would want us to do. Now for the award. The City of Elginak presents this award to Corey Rivard Promise Foundation. It is with great pride that we acknowledge your donation of the bike repair station to our city. We couldn't agree more that getting out and exercising is good for your physical and mental health. We salute your enthusiasm and generosity and are especially grateful for the support your foundation offers our community. We're proud to call you one of our own and wish you continued success going forward. Signed by me.
Thank you.
Is there something you'd like to say?
No.
Okay, no.
We'll give
you that.
Thank you very much.
Come on over here. Can we get a picture? Want to bring the kids? You want the little one as well? Are you sure? No?
A little bit more, I think.
All right, cheese. Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Justin Westmiller. He is our St. Clair County Emergency Management Emergency Management Director, and he's going to give us an update on, guess what? High water.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me this evening. So we're going to start out with where we are and where we were throughout the spring and summer. First off, I want to thank the city of Algonac for supporting your community throughout the spring and summer and into the fall here. What you all did to support your community was amazing. I watched Facebook all summer long, and from you guys rushing out and helping homeowners, you know, in the heat of the moment to do sandbag operations, to keep people from losing property was amazing. I know Denise, you were out there in the community working hard with people personally. I saw many of you on the council doing the same thing, and that throughout all of our communities was exactly what our residents needed to see and needed to have happen to help save their property. So from my office, I really appreciate that. You guys did a really great job, and thank you for that. Some of the highlights, we put out countywide almost 500,000 sandbags. We spent a little short of $2 million throughout the county on flood relief, so that's a big number. We have about $10 million worth of loss right now, is what it looks like. That includes, and that number is rising, but that includes our farm loss and things like that. So they estimate there could be up to $30 million worth of farm loss by the time they tally it at the end of the year. So we have some major impact here in St. Clair County. So I wanted to lead off with that. We met on October 18th with all of the emergency managers in southeastern Michigan. We met with the Army Corps of Engineers, the Canadian Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard, Michigan State Police, EMHSD, and the National Weather Service in our office to go over what we're going to do since we're already in a high water situation. That water is we basically hit the low point now, and we're going to start climbing back up. You already have seen that with the wind and weather that we've gotten in the last 2 weeks, okay? So one of the major impacts, especially for Algonac, is, as you know, every winter we have ice that comes down the river, and now that right now our water level's sitting at about 575.2, between 575.2 and 575.3. So how are we gonna manage that? So we put together a little PowerPoint. We can kind of flip through it pretty quickly, but like I said, we already met. Some of the things the Army Corps does, they do direct assistance. We've already seen that this summer here in Algonac. Sandbags, technical assistance, they talk to us about how to use the sandbags. And then the Coast Guard assistance. So what we know, water levels will be starting higher in 2020 than they were in 2019. That was confirmed as of the November hydrology report by the Army Corps of Engineers. Lake St. Clair is already 7 to 8 inches higher right now than it was in January of 2019. And water levels obviously are going to depend on the type of winter we have. As you can tell, we're going to start out the winter here in the first week of November. So any of that precipitation just continues to build on our water level. It's already cold in Lake Superior. They expect Lake Superior to start freezing by the first week of December. So depending on the coverage we get on Lake Superior will start telling us the story for our area here, believe it or not.
Justin, I got a
Yes,
question,
sir.
if I can interject.
Absolutely.
How does Lake Superior freeze affect us? How's that capacity, whether the whole lake freezes or half, how does that water movement?
So if we get Lake Superior to freeze at 90% or above,
Okay,
that we need water loss on Lake Superior to help our water levels down here go down. And why that is because Lake Superior feeds all the other Great Lakes. It's a system that flows downhill. Lake Superior is the deepest lake, and it flows downhill all the way over to Lake Ontario. And then Lake Ontario flows out through the seaway and out into the ocean. That's how the water flow goes all the way through the Great Lakes. So Lake Huron, Lake Michigan is actually one lake, right? Even though it's split into two, kind of. It's connected and considered one lake for hydrology. And then it goes down, and they actually consider Lake St. Clair its own lake for hydrology purposes because it flows into the Detroit River and then out into Erie. So, and Erie is obviously the most shallow lake, or the shallowest lake. It goes into Ontario, and Ontario flows out to the seaway. The seaway is regulated, I'm not sure if you knew that. So they by treaty are only gonna allow a certain amount of water through the seaway. So that's kind of our holdup. We can't change that. And so precipitation and water runoff are our two biggest issues for how that's gonna work. And we know right now, if we get 90% or more coverage, we will be in another either additional high water situation or stay at a current situation where we are right now, if that makes sense.
okay, thank you.
My pleasure. So the first initial winter outlook was issued by the National Weather Service on the 17th, and that basically said most of the country was going to be warmer, except for a little swath that goes right through Michigan, and that said we were going to be at least cold or colder. They released the 1st of November an update to that, and we're waiting for the results for them to basically pull the Michigan piece out and give us what that means. We expect that by next week. And then on November 18th, they're going to put out a new product that will give us more granular details, and I'll be happy to send that out to all of the leadership throughout the county on that. So expect a little more weather data on that to follow here by about the 20th or 24th of November, as soon as the Weather Service gets us that. So here's where ice flow down the river becomes a problem for us. We know that we get first floor flooding in Algonac and the north end of Clay Township at 579.1, okay? We have flooding alerts at 578.2. So those two numbers are very important to you if you want to write those down. The U.S. Coast Guard, they will activate for flood response as soon as we see that number, that 578.2. That's when I pick up the phone and call the Army Corps and say, hey, we have an ice plug somewhere, please come and help us. Now, the interesting thing about what's called Operation Coal Shovel is there are 4 icebreakers in our area at any time. That doesn't mean they're, within an hour of us. They could be in anywhere from Buffalo all the way to Alpena, and there will be 4. So they could be 8 hours away or 12 hours away, and the Coast Guard will not transit at night in ice because it's too dangerous and they can't do it, all right? So if we get an ice plug in our area and our water level is already up to 578.1, it doesn't take but a few minutes to a couple hours for that level to shoot up and get to a first floor flooding situation because our water level is already so high. So we are gonna keep a very keen eye on what's going on. And they are with us. We're all in this together, and that was their big push at our meeting. The good thing for us is the traffic in the river system is gonna be higher this year. They're gonna lock in 3 salties to be traveling the river system constantly this winter, as well as the normal traffic that's going through once they close the Sioux locks.
How's it gonna help?
Because they're constantly gonna be moving, which will hopefully keep the ice plugs to a minimum, if that makes sense. The one downfall to that is breaking ice makes more ice, right? So, it's all, we're gonna be kinda learning as we go a little bit. But, we do know that we are gonna have 4 icebreakers, and we have asked for them to make sure they pay attention to Algonac, because this is kind of the choke point. It ends up choking up on the north tip of Russell Island. We know that. The other place where it hangs up is in Marine City, and then we flood out East China. So those are my 2 worry points. But they are very well aware of that, and we're working closely with them on that. So, and this just says this is the 4 icebreakers that are available. We've got the Nia Bay, the Bristol Bay, the Griffin, and the Risley, and that's kind of what we've got available to us. So here's the Coast Guard's priority of service. Obviously, search and rescue, always first for Coast Guard. Urgent response and exigent circumstances, that's where flooding is, and then facility of navigation. So a lot of times I hear, oh, well, they're only worried about the MTS, the Maritime Transportation System. That is not the case. If there is a flooding call, they will come first, okay? If we are flooding residents out here or in Clay Township or anywhere along our border, they will come to us first. So we need to make sure that the residents understand that. They are our first priority, okay? And that was reminded to us many times. So last year, obviously, they were escorting ships. That's not gonna change, but they will break off for flooding if need be. I think that might be it. Is that it? So here's the other thing, both in Clay and here in Algonac and then in Marine City, there are canals and drains. If we start flooding on the main river, those drains are gonna flood too, especially just up the street here. The Marine City drain is full, right? So that will flood too. So we're gonna get backwater flooding as well. So those are things we're worried about. One of the things I'm very worried about is if we get flooding in the river, we could get flooding over M29. And not only water flooding, but we're gonna get ice, potentially ice coming across the road. So these are all things that we're worried about and we're paying attention to. And we're making plans and preparations to deal with that as well. So what we're working through is having the plans and preparations so that this isn't a surprise to us. We don't want people to be overly concerned. We just want people to understand that we're ready for it should this happen, if that makes sense. I have to plan for the worst while everybody else enjoys life as you know it here in Algonac. That's my job. Like I said to Corey a little earlier, my job is to be the doom and gloom guy while everybody else smiles and has a great day. Please keep smiling and having a great day. Everything is okay until it isn't, all right? And I will let you know when it's time to think otherwise, all right? That's my job. So the Coast Guard will activate for flood response. First floor flooding has to be significant, and here's why. They're not gonna respond to us and come running every time somebody has flooding in their yard. That's not an emergency, all right? And so we need to make sure that our public understands that flooding doesn't mean water in your yard. That makes me pay attention, but that doesn't mean that the Coast Guard activates for that. Flooding means it could impact the residents themselves, or the buildings that they live in. It doesn't mean it's impacting outbuildings and things like that. It means the actual homes, the domiciles themselves. So those are the things we're paying attention to, if that makes sense. So is there any questions on that? Sir?
Actually, I got 2 questions for you. The first one is, do you know how many years you guys are expecting the high water to stay?
That there is no timetable on it, right? There's no manual that says the water should be here for this long. It literally depends on how long we have this pattern and how long it takes it to burn off. That's,
And instead of using sandbags, do you believe seawall caps are better use than sandbags?
so seawall caps don't do anything other than break waves. Seawall caps are not, they're not waterproof, they don't hold the water out, they just are a wave breaker, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yep, good. So the North Channel, breaking the North Channel is always a question that I get. And breaking the North Channel is an exigent circumstance type situation. It provides an immediate relief, but it's not a sustainable situation in that it could help us out for a few minutes, but we lose access to Harson's Island, and there are 850 permanent homes on there with 3 to 4 people that live in each of those homes, including some school-age children and things like that. So we could, depending on what the situation is, break that out and relieve some water to come through there, but we might be creating an additional problem. So we will do that on a case-by-case basis. It just depends on what that is and what the threat is. If that water shoots up 3 feet and that provides me a relief option, I may do that in accordance with the Coast Guard, but I need to take a look at what may happen, what the second and third order issues might be. So that's always an option, but it's not a great one if you know what I'm talking about. So, and the main flow of water always goes through the South Channel anyway. So if we can just keep breaking the South Channel and doing the milling out in the Seaway run, then it's easier anyway. So that's the answer on that. The big thing we're pushing right now, there are 2 big things. One, if you have sandbags in place, or you have water dams, or you have things that are already keeping water off your property, or they were earlier this summer, do not remove them. Please leave them in place. We have heard of people throwing them out. This is not a good idea. Leave them in place, okay? They will continue to protect your home should water continue to rise. So this is an investment you already made or somebody made for you. Please leave that investment in place. The second thing is, if you are in an area where you can purchase FEMA flood insurance and you have not yet, please do so, because you still have a 30-day time limit that you have to wait before that insurance becomes active, and you have 30 days plus available right now before the threat could become viable. All right? Please, please, please do that. Understand that that doesn't potentially protect your goods inside your home. You still need to either buy another insurance policy for your property inside your home, but it does protect your house itself. So please think about doing that if you are in a zone that allows you to purchase flood insurance. Are there any other questions? And I do have one other. I have a good piece of news too, so not just the doom and gloom back. All right, so shifting gears real quick, this will take 1 minute. We have done an extensive study on the alert warning system throughout the county, i.e. tornado sirens, okay? I know you're having a little tiny issue with one of the sirens in your city, but throughout the county, we have done probably a 3-month study now, an engineering study, and we are going to, one, put the entire county on, should you hope to adopt it. It's very cheap, but we're going to put the entire county on a maintenance agreement. It's going to be between $400 and $600 per year per siren. And then we are also going to upgrade the system at Central Dispatch that will allow it to be dispatched, which will bring it into the 22nd century, which is everybody's very appreciative of that. And so my office is going to do all that investment to the tune of about $58,000. The only thing that the cities will be required to do is that maintenance agreement, $1,200 a year. And that has never been done in the county. So we're pretty proud of that. It took some doing. There is some municipalities that have never done maintenance on their sirens. So that's why they don't work, right? So you gotta kind of take care of things. But anyway, I wanted to give you some good news on that. We've come to some pretty good conclusions on that, and so we're pushing that out to everybody. So I'm leaving you with some good news. So any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In the past week or so, we received information on fast tracking permits,
Yes.
through the Corps of Engineers. So would that be that we would probably see more construction going on throughout the fall until they're able to, and then start again in the spring, and we'd see more of that happening in our area? If people so choose to have that done?
Yes, and I believe I sent you and
Yes.
you guys both got that email from me.
Yeah,
They're
we
also-
shared that with our residents online, or on Facebook.
Great, and they're also doing a webinar. I just got notified of it this afternoon on the 11th or 12th. So I'm happy to share that with everybody too, for leadership, and I will get that to both of you. I just got it this evening, so
Okay,
Commissioner Bone sent it to me, so I will send it to both of you tomorrow morning, okay? I'm gonna put it out to everybody, so
all right,
I will get that out.
thank you.
My pleasure, sir. Oh, you looked at the other question. Any other questions?
No, just a comment. I want to thank you, Justin, for coming down and spending your time and taking your time out to inform everybody.
That's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, moving on, we'll have our section of public comment. Remember to state your name, where you live, and you have 5 minutes that you can speak. As in the past, we don't comment, but we definitely listen very closely to what you have to say. Would anyone please like to speak?
Hi, my name is Nancy Scheuer. I live at 145 Cheryl Lane. And I'm here to just try and get some help or assistance. We've been having an issue with Chris Marine barge, Chris Dobar's barge. It's been sitting in front of our condo for a year now. And he does a little bit of work and then moves, then does another little bit of work and moves it again. And basically, it's been there the whole year, a year and this month. And we're paying taxes to live on the water, so we have a water view, and that's sitting right in front of our, all summer. Winter's not so bad, but we don't want to see it there again this winter. I've called numerous times and talked, and I've been told there's no ordinance against it. I did talk to him myself about a week ago, and he said, well, now he had an injury, and said he won't be able to get out there and move it for a while. So I just want to know, is there anything else that can be done? I know you can't comment, so I'll just leave it at that. But it's not the first time. About, I want to say 6 years ago, not sure if that's the exact year. It was on the back of our, I'm on both 2 canals and the river on the end, so I'm not surrounded by water. It was on the other side of our canal, and it was left there all year too. So this is getting to be a habit. I don't think he has anywhere to keep it during the year. So he finds the last place he worked at and it stays there for the winter.
All right,
So, thank you.
thank you. Next?
Dwayne Rennick, 207 Roselawn. To elaborate what Nancy was saying, the barge is actually next to my cottage, and well, it's a house, and I know there's no ordinance, I've been told from Corey. Corey's been a great deal of help, city manager not so much. I know you guys can't ordinance the water, but wouldn't the land ordinance follow the water, the noise, the blight? I took pictures the other day of diesel fuel leaking from the barge. We can't sleep in our cottage on a windy or rainy or wavy night. A seawall is held in place by 2 legs that go to the bottom of the river. It clanks constantly. It clanks loud enough you can hear it from Snoopy's 175 feet away. And I've left 14 messages to Denise, I haven't got any phone calls back. I've left 4 messages with Lori, haven't got any phone calls back. Corey's the only person to listen to me and try to help me at all. We're basically losing our right to enjoy our cottage for a seawall that should have been 2 weeks to be done. It's been a year. He's done literally 40 foot of seawall twice in 1 year. I know you can't comment, but I wish someone would do something. I know Denise doesn't really care, Corey seems to care. If a couple of you would care, maybe we can get it taken care of.
Thank you. Next. No one else? All right. Moving on, city manager's report, Mrs. Gerstenberg.
Thank you, Mayor Stoneburner. I just wanted to give two updates today. One was on our Smith Recreation Park. The improvements continue at the skate park. In addition to the fresh paint, you may have noticed that the fence has been removed to create a safer environment for the children of the community. The park is now wide open so that no child can be trapped within the fence and bullied. And now there's good visibility for neighbors and the sheriff to always see what is going on in the park. There's actually been a notable increase in park users since the fence has been removed, so that has been very nice. We have replaced the fence with some icebreakers along the skate park perimeter, adding a nautical flair and also preventing any larger type vehicles from getting onto the skate park. We are also looking to install a new sign that will have a nautical flair to it and make improvements to the baseball backstop and the baseball field. So we'll continue to see those hopefully this fall. I also wanted to mention that we have started leaf vacuuming, so the schedule is posted on the city website page and on the city Facebook page. I'd also like to remind everyone that our leaf vac, we have had some struggles with it since we have started this year. It is 26 years old and was purchased in 1993. So we will be doing the best that we can, these next couple weeks to collect all of the leaves. And that's it, Mayor Stoneburner, anything?
Denise, is there a particular reason why we haven't thought about purchasing a new leaf vac, or at least got an estimate on what replacement cost would be and something like that, if it's essential?
We have gotten an estimate, it's
Okay.
approximately $30,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I have a question. Will we be holding to the same week schedule? I know last year what we did is if we fell behind, we would go back and get off schedule. Like last week was north of Smith Street, this week should be south of Smith Street. Are we gonna hold to that so that the people know?
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Yes, we are trying to hold to the schedule as best as we possibly can. Of course, the rain last week, that impacted us and sets us back. It's hard to pick up the leaves when they're wet, but we are trying to maintain the schedule.
Okay, so my recommendation last year was that if we fell behind, let's say, north of Smith Street, we would leave it and go to the regular schedule on the south side anyway, so that people know what's coming next.
Right. Correct.
Thank you. Next, we need a motion to approve our consent agenda, which consists of our city council meeting minutes for the October 15th, 2019 meeting, and communications from the St. Clair County Sheriff third quarter stats. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? All right, we have been approved. We have no unfinished business, so we'll go right into our new business. And we are being asked to approve the new Algonac Lions Field sign in the amount of $1,389.15. The Lions participated in a local day called the Big Give, and this is money that was raised through that and the Community Foundation and other nonprofits. Our Lions Club thankfully raised $2,100 that day for the beautification of our Lions Field. So now we're being asked to approve that.
I'm gonna steal the motion from Rockham.
I would like to make the motion to accept a donation of $1,389.15 from Algonac Lions and the purchase of a new sign from Lions Field from Phillips Sign, whose address is 40920 Executive Drive, Harrison Township, Michigan, 48045, in the amount of $1,389.15.
I'll support.
Discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody who donated. Rocky and I took this project on, and we had help from Tom Watkins, and we contacted a lot of people in the area, in the city, in Clay Township. We made a lot of calls that day, did a lot of Facebooking, and this was all private donations from all of you out there, so thank you to the citizens once again. It went through the lines, but really, in all reality, it was all of you who donated and helped to get this sign, and it just adds another layer to the improvements that we've made at Lions Field. I'm glad we were able to do it.
This sign is going to be great because it's going to tell the people traveling through town all the amenities that Lions Field has to offer. But it's going to have, on the sign, it's going to say dog park, playground, public pool, and sledding hill. So if you're staying at the state park, you could actually, and driving into town, you would know that all those amenities are available to you. So I'm very excited to see this come to fruition.
Me too. It was a lot of hard work.
I'd like to piggyback on that and just say what a great community we live in. I mean, winter, summer, sandbags, signs, everybody steps up to the plate, and just what a great community. Everybody should be proud to live here.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Gillis?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Meldrum?
Yes.
Mr. Scarbeck?
Yes.
Mayor Stoneburner?
Yes.
Mr. Bembas?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next, we're being asked to renew the Uniform Video Service Local Franchise Agreement between the City of Algonac and Comcast of Michigan. In the past, Michigan has approved cable and video franchise law that permits a standardized agreement instead of having the companies negotiate individually with each municipality. And currently, our agreement with Comcast is expiring. Our city does receive $61,000 from Comcast, or about $61,000 from Comcast each year, and will continue to do so under this contract. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to renew the Uniform Video Service Local Franchise Agreement between the City of Algonac and Comcast of Michigan, 4 LLC, and direct the city manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gillis?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Meldrum?
Yes.
Mr. Scarbeck?
Yes.
Mayor Stoneburner?
Yes.
Mr. Bembas?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, we're being asked to consider the resignation from the Planning Commission by Cindy Babish. She's resigned effective October 27, 2019, and it is due to employment obligations that she is now encumbered. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion with great regret that we accept the resignation of Cindy Babbitts from the Planning Commission effective November 5th, 2019.
Support.
Discussion?
Do we know when her term ends?
We do. I have to go look it up.
Oh, if you don't have it right now, that's fine. That's just curious.
Cindy's been a great addition to us on the Planning Commission, but I do understand she's taken on another responsibility that really is taking up a lot of her time, but Ira Township's benefit, but but Cindy's always there for us for anything that we're working on in our community as well. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We've accepted Cindy Babish's resignation. We do have an opening now on the Planning Commission, so if anyone is interested in that, we do have applications online, or you can come to City Hall and get a copy of the application and fill it out and drop it off. Because I imagine at our next meeting, we will be considering a Planning Commission replacement for Cindy. And we are sending her a thank you for her time spent on our Planning Commission. Too often, our volunteers all our boards and commissions are volunteers, and they put in hours of research and meetings and things, and we very much appreciate their commitment to our community like that. Next, we're being asked to consider an appointment to the Housing Commission. Diane Strebel resigned September 21st, 2019, leaving the vacancy. That term ends June 11th, 2020. We do have one person that submitted their application, and that is Cindy Smith. And following our policy, we need to appoint someone to the Housing Commission. May I have a motion, please?
I move that we appoint Cindy Smith to the Housing Commission with a term ending 6/11/2020.
Support.
Discussion?
Cindy will be a good addition to this board. She's actually a property manager right now at Romanbrook. And she's also treasurer for the Algonac Community Theater. She lived in Algonac for 24 years. And I know Cindy well, and I'm sure she will do an excellent job on that board.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, Cindy Smith, if you see this, you got it. Next, we're being asked to approve a resolution supporting the development of a special needs playground at Algonac Lions Field. CG Carruthers is the president of Between You and I, and it is a 501c3 organization that supports families and caregivers of adults and children with special needs, disabilities, and learning impairments. They've been spending time fundraising for this wonderful park that we're excited about. I know all of us have been involved in fundraisers with them and seen all the activity going on about it and the plans. And they are requesting a resolution from us to show our support so that they can use that for grant funding for this endeavor. May I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 19-18, supporting the development of the special needs park at Algonac Lions Field.
Support.
Discussion?
I think that is a great idea.
Recently, I read an email from the superintendent of schools, and per capita, Algonac has a higher special needs population than any other city in St. Clair County, so I think this would be a great benefit to our community.
Well, and I think it is even going to draw people from other communities here as well
Yes.
when we have this.
Well, several years ago, when we redid the pool, there was a grant involved in that, and I think part of it was that we had to have a universal playground for the children, and we never got that far, but I think that's something we had already decided to do several years ago.
And this will also be nice when we have people with disabilities, whether they're a grandparent or not, and their able-bodied child, they would be able to enjoy it as well with their children, or their grandchildren, or whoever they're with.
Right.
And I think that's important too.
I think when you look at it, it's called an all-inclusive park, which means that any kid can use it, even if it is based for special needs. Any kid can use it, and even adults. Some of the things I saw in the plans, as far as what you call merry-go-rounds or whatever, even if you're in a high wheelchair, you can still get on the platform and turn the disc, which moves the whole thing. It's pretty cool if you see the pictures. I'd encourage anybody just to go on either YouTube or Google special needs parks and see some of the things on there. It's really, really wonderful what we can do nowadays.
Do you guys know how much money they raised yet?
No, you
I
probably
only know
want to
if
ask
he's-
her.
Yeah, you'd have to ask her. The first step will be raising funds for their feasibility study. They're looking for an architect or an engineer that will be needed so that they can design the park conceptually and also produce a realistic cost estimation, because I know when they talked about the different things, they need to know what they need to work toward. And I know on November 9th, they have an something coming up at the Lions,
No.
and the money will go toward this. It's a,
November 16th.
16th, I apologize.
They're having a craft show.
Okay, so the proceeds, money raised there will go toward this park. It's a wonderful thing. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Meldrum?
Yes.
Mr. Scarbeck?
Yes.
Mayor Stoneburner?
Yes.
Mr. Bembas?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Gillis?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, we're being asked to approve our accounts payable and payroll. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable and payroll in the amount of $243,111.65 as presented.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Meldrum?
Yes.
Mr. Scarbeck?
Yes.
Mayor Stoneburner?
Yes.
Mr. Bembas?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Gillis?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mrs. Furstenberg, what do we have for our next agenda?
It looks like, Mayor Stoneburner, we will be looking at approving funding for a bridge loading study by AEW and perhaps a presentation about our current rental program.
Okay, thank you. Council comments. Councilwoman Meldrum.
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And I hope that it's warmer.
Councilman Martin.
I took a walk today and I was in the Lions Field and I saw that bicycle repair home. I guess there are tools to come yet for it because the air pump is there, looks very sturdy, and it's near the north end of the park by the parking lot, and it will be very handy and helpful, so I thank those people for what they do.
I just want to thank you all for coming tonight, and I want to say that for Halloween, there was a lot of kids out for how much rain we had, and the bonfire, it was huge, and it was another good year. Thank you.
Councilman Blair.
Hey, thanks everybody for coming out. Always good to see you, Justin. Always appreciate you coming out and giving us a heads up, and appreciate your honesty, always. I know that if we need anything, you're there to help. Again, it's gonna be that time, community, that we got to look out for our neighbor. High water's coming, we hear it. Let's be prepared, especially for our shut-ins, for our elderly. Let's be there for them. You know, it's not 80 degrees and sunny doing sandbags, it's gonna be a little chilly, so let's just try and keep our eyes open to that as well. I wanna piggyback on Jacob in regards to the trunk or treat. I was shocked myself that I couldn't even get out of my house to come over to the trunk or treat because there's so many kids that were actually out on that miserable night. And but when you go up to the trunk or treat and you see the camaraderie, the community up there, you forget about the weather. And I think Chief Doan had a wonderful fire burning back there. If I ever need a fire, Joe, I'm gonna call you, okay? That was a good one. And we got some events coming up here in the fall. Just keep your eye on the website. A lot of activities coming and some coming for the new year. Let's be safe. And again, everybody have a great night. And enjoy Turkey Day if I don't see you before then. I think we will. Yeah. I'm premature in that, sorry.
Mayor Pro Tem Gillis.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. And I do want to piggyback on the Halloween. I thought it was a great time. It's always fun. It wasn't as fun as last year when we had like 75-degree temperatures, but it was still a good time to see the whole community. I think there had to be 500-600 people out there, so that was fun. Again, the Between You and I Sport Group is having their craft show November 16th at the Algonac Lions from 10 to 3. You can come out, please support that. They're also going to be selling used Christmas decorations at donation only. So it should be, hopefully we can raise some more money to get this park off the ground. Thank you and have a great evening.
Councilman Bembas.
Hi, everybody. Just touch base with you on Halloween in the NAC, which was October 19th. We had a great time playing games with all the kids. duck races went really well. Boy Scouts raised a ton of money for their trips that they want to send their young men on. And we raised $500 at our haunted house for the food bank. And if anybody's interested, we're doing a tutors thing for next year. And actually, we've already started making some of the crafts, but I just had to throw that out there. December 4th is our parade for Christmas out front. If you have a golf cart and you can walk, maybe you want to be out there. Everybody's welcome. Also looking for people to do crafts with the kids or games or whatever, you know, small little things inside while the kids wait to see Santa. We'll be, Jill and I will be out there. Jill already has been on Pinterest looking at crafts. And this Saturday is Feast for the Families, right? At the VFW. It's donations, good food, good friends, good cause, and hope to see everybody, some people, few of you there on Saturday. Thank you.
Well, I would like to make a comment about the bike repair site there, the equipment that we have there. I saw it a couple years ago, or a year or so ago, in St. Clair when I was going to visit my mom. And it was just on the side of a bike path. And the kids were lined up like crazy, coming, putting air in their tires and everything. At first I was like, what the heck is it? I never even knew it existed. But it got so much use, and I know it will be for us. And when kids hear about it, they'll take their bikes there and fix them, and it'll be a lot easier. Also, the pilings that we received for the skate park, so that we can give it the nautical flair, I'd like to thank Bob Bryson for donating that to our city. We had a wonderful Halloween in the Neck, and our trunk or treat was wonderful. I would like to thank Mr. Halloween himself and Mrs. Halloween, Mike Bembus and Jill Bembus, for organizing Halloween in the Neck, and Rocky and his crew for building the pallet maze. I was going to say the skid maze. That didn't sound quite right. Him for building that, and all our volunteers that came out, different organizations that Mike recruited. It was spectacular, so thank you very much for all you do for that. And the trunk or treat, all it could be is nicer weather. Helen, you're right, we need nicer weather. I don't think we're going to get it, and not after what Justin told us tonight. He's Mr. Doom and Gloom.
So she blames you, Doom and Gloom?
No, you're okay.
He knew he was gonna get blamed.
That's okay, I'm good for
His
it.
shoulders aren't
That's
wide, he
right.
can handle it.
That's right.
November 9th, we have the fashion show at Capri that is hosted by the Women's Life 883. If you're interested, contact Paula Burgess, and the proceeds will go to our Elginak Clay Historical Society. And on November 20th, we have our community dinner. It's on Wednesday night, 5 o'clock at the First Evangelical Lutheran Church. That's at Green and Washington. So if you're interested, great home-cooked food there, wonderful desserts, so like to see you there. When we all get together and we're all involved in something together, like the Halloween at the Neck, and I appreciated that, having to work it. It's the first time I got to watch families there do things, because normally I'm helping and doing things, but these guys were really great. I got to be Nani that day. And it was a wonderful thing with my grandkids to see what other kids were enjoying. You look at it differently. Dang, we do a good job for our kids and our families here when we pull something off like that. It was wonderful, all the activities that were going on. And the same thing for the trunk or treat. Everybody's there having a great time. And I know when we did the study, the long-range master plan study that we did, over and over again we heard that we needed things to do in our community. And we have things to do in our community, and they're happening at least seasonally, and that's great. And it's a great place to live, and now we have a sign to show people where to go to have that good time. With that, can I have a motion to
Your job, Mr.
adjourn?
Blair.
You can, yes. How about if I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? We're adjourned.
forgot my card.
Yeah. You know, a little bit.
Good, you had some good sun and fun.
Oh, yeah, there's a ton of sun. Lots of sunscreen. Lots of sunscreen.
You're busy in 2 weeks.
Right. No, that's no complaints. I just do get in a hurry.
You gotta go home, right?
I was sad.
I was ready, I mean, the weather was good, I was ready. But now I'm thinking, yeah, I could have done a couple more days. We stocked away. We didn't bring any home. We should have. Especially when the cruiser runs only $8.
Right there on St. Clair's.
You, join the club.
And they have like 12 floors.
It won't be one single
Store when you get there.
It'll be myself,